Hello. In this session, we will see about how to configure Sleuth and Zipkin server practically, and we will also see the user interface for Zipkin server. So I have opened two workspaces here. If you see, I have opened two workspaces. One is Fein, that is a user service. And as I said, first we need to configure Sleuth dependencies. So Sleuth dependencies and Zipkin dependencies. So if you see here, I have added Zipkin here and Sleuth here. So Spring framework.cloud and starter hyphen sleuth. This is one dependency for sleuth and sleuth Zipkin dependency. That means in user service, in one of the user service, I have added sleuth and Zipkin. Similarly, within this service, properties also we need to add, as I said. So, as I said, sleuth properties are only required for gateway. This is not a gateway application. So here I need to configure only Spring Zipkin base URL and localhost 9411. This is a Zipkin server default URL. So this is how we need to configure. So one service is fully configured. We have defined dependencies and we have defined required properties. Let us move on to another workspace where we are having student service, Eureka server and gateway. So first we can configure it Eureka server. So Eureka server, go to Eureka server and you can see this one. And Eureka server also we are going to configure the sleuth and Eureka server not required the sleuth and this Zipkin dependencies. So still I want to check. So I have not defined here. So Eureka server not required and properties you can see properties also I have not defined. We will see if it is not working, we will see. So Eureka server not required, but gateway mandatorily we need to define because all the services are registered at Eureka server. It is not a physically exist. Due to that we are not defining, and gateway we are defining the properties. As I said, sleuth property instrumentation type decorate on each. This property is required for the sleuth. In earlier session I have explained. So this property only for gateway, and this property common for gateway, common for user service, common for student service, common for other service. So this is a Zipkin URL. So gateway configuration is done, and you can also verify pom.xml. So in this pom.xml also we will be having sleuth configured and Zipkin also configured. These dependencies we have to add. So gateway configuration is done. Next, student service. So go to application.properties and we have added this one spring.zipkin.base URL for Zipkin server. And when we are running, it will be added. And pom.xml also we need to add sleuth dependency and Zipkin dependency. This is Zipkin dependency and this is a sleuth dependency. Now all our configuration property is ready. Now what we have to do is let us run and verify. So we need to start this one and run as Spring Boot. It will run. Meanwhile, other services also we can run. Student details we can run here. In other workspace we need to start three services: gateway and Eureka server and student service. So student service is going to start, then and gateway, I'm going to start the gateway, and Eureka discovery, Eureka server also we can add. So here Eureka server we need to start. And meanwhile we can see whether user service is started or not. So this server is started. So parallelly we can open Postman. So in this Postman, this is for testing of the application. And we can verify whether all the servers are started or not. So Eureka server is starting, and I think all the servers are starting. So as of now, we haven't get any trace ID, service name or span ID. So as a developer, we will verify in console. As I said earlier, we can verify in console and we can also verify in Zipkin server. So Zipkin server is coming in the form of a user interface or a dashboard, we can say. So this is the user service, user microservice and 8082. So this way, this is running and all the servers are running. And I am going to hit and I am verifying whether service is working fine or not. So here user microservice not yet running. So we will see, yes, it was running, and we can also verify 8082 Eureka is running or not. We can verify under this. Yes, we can verify here API gateway is running. So API gateway is running. Then 8082 under user microservice find list of client. Now service is up and running. That is the reason. So earlier it got failed, but now it is working. Now our job is to verify whether we got span ID or not. Span ID and trace IDs are forming or not. See here user microservice and here trace ID microservice, it should come, and we will verify in a student service. And logs are rolling, due to that not able to identify quickly. We have to verify gateway. If not appearing, see this is a API gateway, and trace ID and other ID not appearing. So we can see here one more hit, we will see. We can hit one more and verify. And you can verify in user. See, we got this trace ID and span ID. So trace ID is across application, it is common 1423 and 580. So this is how, this is a service name, this is a trace ID and this is a span ID. And even if you are going to other server, you will be able to see. Gateway also by this time it should have got it, because our request is passing through gateway. This is a Eureka server, and you can verify gateway. And gateway also we will get it, but logs are rolling. So due to that, we were not getting. We will see. And student service. Student service we are hitting, and you can verify student service whether we are getting or not. So if you are getting any confusion, we can go and verify in user interface. We will be having Zipkin server. So you can enter this one and go to Zipkin server, and we will be able to see track the span ID and other ID. Because I have tested only one user service using the gateway. Okay, so fine user I have tested. So here this server is running. Now I will go to Zipkin user interface. Here it would be easy. Now nothing is there. But if I am click run query, we will be able to see. So nothing is there. For that I need to hit one hit and come here and verify. You will get the service. See, we got the service, and if you can open this, we will be getting. So through API gateway, user microservice is being hit and student microservice. So this is how we will be getting. And here you can see span ID and parent ID is nothing. This is the span ID for user service. And you can, if you are clicking this one, span ID, user service span ID and parent ID. So earlier we have seen 575, and the in console also we will be getting same details. And student service, if you are seeing student service, span ID 4AD and 575, and user microservice 575 span ID, and here also 575. So this trace ID is matching. Span ID is within the application, that is unique. But parent ID nothing but a trace ID 575. If you are going to user microservice, you will be getting the 575 span ID. So 575, and here also 575. And you gateway, if you are verifying gateway, here you can see span ID and parent ID is nothing, because via user, and user is passed through gateway and student microservice. And if you are hitting one more time also, we will be able to get it. This is how user interface will be very helpful. And here total spans for trace ID is this one. And if you are searching, suppose you are searching here, and from here in a project we will pick this value and come to Zipkin server user interface and search. You will get the details. So how we are going to get the details is 9411 http localhost 9411, and here you can search based on this, and you will get the details. Because this one we are not getting, because one more hit we need to see, one more hit, and go to server and pick this one. This got changed, so due to that it was not appearing. And take the latest ID and copy paste here. You will get all the details. See, this is how we will get the details. This is the user interface, and whatever the 8485 span ID is this one. And here we will also having this one plus symbol is there, and here also you can search based on the service name and maximum duration and all. So you can search service name, and service names are listed. So user microservice, and you can run the query. You will get the details: API gateway root value, and minute ago it got hit. gateway has been hit, and you can search. This is the value. So we are having user microservice, student microservice, and gateway. So similarly, we are having, this is a user microservice. This is the micro, this is the user service, user client. Okay, and if you are opening this one, we will be having three workspaces. Those are student details and gateway and Eureka server. Due to that, we are getting gateway and user microservice, and Eureka server will not be displayed. It will be running backend only. So this is the Zipkin server user interface. We can say dashboard. Using this, it would be more benefited, and where is the error, which service is running, and where the problem, it could be easily identified based on the span id, trace id, and service name. So based on the trace id, based on the span id, we will be able to easily track. So trace id is common for all the services. So 485, suppose user service 485, this is a common, and student service 485 is quite common. And user service is being hit 485 and 6ft, f2 and 6f2. So this would be matched. We have to verify. So here in user service span id will be this one, and in student service that span id will become parent id. One place it is a span id, another place it is a parent id. So based on this we can easily track, because based on the span id, trace id, we will be able to match which service is running and which service is giving problem, and it would be easy to identify the root causes. This is about sleuth integration and Zipkin server integration. And once again, I would like to summarize. Basically, we need to add required dependencies and required properties, and Zipkin we need to download the server, and we need to keep it in your C drive or any of the place you can keep it, and you can open command prompt and you can run as java hyphen jar, and zipkin.jar you have to give, and Zipkin server will be running. After that, we can go to the browser and we can open the localhost 9411, and this dashboard will be coming. So before opening this one, we need to run and hit the service. If you are not running and if you are not hitting, then your entire service or dashboard will be empty only. You don't find anything. So first, because you need to run the server, and then you need to hit from the postman, then come to Zipkin server, so that it would be easily trackable. So because sometimes what is happening in real time is these logs are rolling, and we cannot identify which user service is running, which service name is running, which trace id, which span id is running. It would be somewhat difficult. That is the reason using user interface, it would be easy, and root cause we can easily identify. Once root cause is identified, we can easily find the solution. So this is about the sleuth and Zipkin. Thank you.